Hey everybody, it's Will Robson again. You can check out my work at facebook.com/RobsonINK. I know I just uploaded the last video, but I decided that I was going to bang out the rest of this today. So I'm starting out by trying to change the figure that was requested in the sort of image that I set up, and I realized I made a big mistake. I thought for some reason that instead of doing multiple tries at different shots, I just went with the first thing that came to mind, and that is a big mistake. You should at least get 3 to 4 images down of variation, but this comes down to, you think you can save time by just doing one thing, but really you can save more time by doing multiple things. You just have to do multiple things differently, as in if you, for instance, these it doesn't look like it, but these are actually pretty fleshed out roughs, because these are ready to be penciled, and that was a mistake. What I really needed to do was lay down ideas, which I get to later. So you're going to see me here struggling to stick her in this shot, because there's not much space for a main figure to move around in. And the corner is interesting, I suppose, but there's so much. There's only 3 bad guys, and it doesn't seem that interesting. And anyway, so I'm glad that he didn't like the first pass. Not that he didn't like it, he just didn't like the pose that she was in. But you know, to me, I just stepped back and I looked and I thought, well, you know, if I saw this, it's cool, but it's not that cool. You know, I want this, you know, you want pinups to be epic. You want people to look at your pinups and go like, wow. So here I'm starting again. I'm chucking down a triangle first on this one, doing like sort of the Frank Frazetta composition, where if you look at a lot of Frank Frazetta, he draws with a lot of triangles because it just makes for interesting composition. So, you know, I have her standing here, and it's just another really boring thing. I was going to have her holding up a character, like there, like she's beating people up, and then I was thinking, what, Frank Frazetta paintings are great because usually they're on top of mountains or on top of tall stairs, and with, you know, creatures climbing up to fight them, but it doesn't really work for mobsters. So here is what will eventually be choice B for the pinup. But it does get changed. I sort of did the sort of classic on the floor look of, you know, rubbish in the foreground, some guy that's just been beaten to a pulp by her, and I was going to have her standing over him with multiple gangsters behind, and so this sort of evolved over time. So I have her standing in this sort of hunched over action pose, like she's just been beating the crap out of one dude. And then I sort of do this perspective where it's, you know, real sort of worm's eye view perspective, and there's a door frame there, and then I have multiple people, more gangsters shooting guns, and this is just a much more dynamic view, and the more dynamic it is, the more fun it will be to just draw. There was nothing wrong with the last one, but it was more of I suppose it was more of I was really looking at a lot of John Byrne, and not to say he doesn't make really interesting shots, but I needed to stick to more my guns. So that's one choice right there. So the second choice I made, which actually I think turned out to be the best option, is this, which I ended up making choice A, where I have her sort of in midair again kicking. Hopefully it won't be too much of a Spider-Man pose again, but I have her in midair kicking some guy who's really bent back, like, you know, like he's just been whacked into tomorrow by her foot. I change up her arms as well because it's not very dynamic, but you can see that these are very rough compared to what I was doing before, because I was just trying to do it quicker, and sometimes the quicker you go with the fluidity of your pencil, you can get a better image. So I think the focus on this is much better. I actually am playing more with the rule of thirds. So I have a sort of a nice cool jump sweep kick. So, and instead of, if I was drawing sequential work, I would have sort of action lines showing that, but that sort of would take away too much from this, so I'm just going to have blood sort of trickling in the way that she's kicking him. So I'm much happier with these choices. I'm glad you know, it was turned down and I got the extra time to do a better pass. So we'll see what the client says, and I'll come back with the next video. Hopefully it will be pencils, but we'll see. Okay, thanks for watching everybody. Bye bye.